Fukushima. I think that will give us some idea that how people are still suffering and it's an ongoing crisis. And I hope that you learn something from today's presentation. And we will continue to raise awareness on the situation in Fukushima, not only in Japan, but also in international community as well. We will continue to issue statements to IAEA or Japanese government and try to organize parallel events like this one so that more and more people will learn from this experience. We had Chernobyl and we had Fukushima. Before that, we had Hiroshima, Nagasaki. We also had the Lucky Dragon number 5, which was exposed to the atmospheric nuclear testing. So Japanese community experienced radiation exposure at least a couple times already. And we don't want any other community to experience this kind of tragedy in any other communities. But this could happen as long as we have nuclear facilities in the world. There are at least 400 nuclear power plants in the world. And do we have enough international standards to protect people from this kind of nuclear disaster? No. And who is in charge? The IAEA. And are we able to do something about this? Well, we will continue to collaborate with other NGOs in Europe and in the United States as well as in Japan to talk about this issue so that in the future we'll be able to establish international framework from human rights perspective so that people will be protected if this kind of disaster happens in the future. And I hope you will join us as well. And next we'd like to move to the Q&A sessions.
Have you been aware, have you ever read or heard any of the news that actually the symptoms are emerging in Japan? Okay, so people who got in this room are aware of that. But yeah, in Japan, it is really a total blackout of media. And even though there are lots of people who have been developing symptoms, that information itself cannot come out because of the control of the media and the doctors, like the Society of Medicine in Japan are denying even now that there have been no health damage occurred, even at a single person, even in Fukushima or anywhere in Japan, which is really absurd. And I just wanted to remind you that this is really a real thing. It's not only the anxiety, it is happening. I think this is the most important thing, but there are very few people who talk about this. Me and my boy, I was outside on the 15th of March in Tokyo, and then about 1 month later, I had fever like 103 degrees for 8 days, and this boy, he was totally healthy. Now he's okay, but at that time he had 101 degrees Fahrenheit fever on and off for 13 times in the duration of 3 months, and he had rash all over, and he was really sick, and he's chubby now, but he became real skinny, and he stopped growing for 3 or 4 months. And really, it is really happening. And also, I have got 2 nodules in my thyroid myself, and my boy has countless number of minute nodules. And so what I wanted to stress most is that the most important thing is the symptoms are happening, and I want you to know, and I want you to spread this information. And if you're interested, I have a lot of business card today, and I can send you emails giving you the text I have written regarding this health hazard. Thank you.
My question is for Dr. McCue. Hi. You mentioned that there is some sort of governmental support for pregnant women and children, like incentives to bring them back. But I wanted to know if you see maybe a rise in women, like local communities that were affected, women coming together to really provide each other with support, because the governmental support really, you can't even call that, helpful.
I think part of our tour, Physicians for Social Responsibility, in the country was to actually get a sense that people are organizing, but there's so much contradictory information coming in that if you don't have a lot of support from other women, you're pretty much on your own trying to figure out what's truth, what's reality. And I think part of our goal today is to help provide that kind of support and say that is what people need. They need that kind of mutual support at this point, because there are problems emerging, as was just so eloquently shown. And you need that kind of support. It's very hard to say you perceive something and everybody else tells you it doesn't exist. It really has severe, I think, psychological impacts. And so I think that is happening. I think it probably needs to happen more, and I think that's why we're here, right? Did I answer? Yeah. Yeah, sorry, who's got it?
And also that the most difficult things is it's difficult to find the person, the mothers, and the mothers. It's very difficult to find another mothers who have the same ideas, and also the many. And we interviewed many Fukushima's mothers, and they said that. Usually we was a friend, but the sensitivity is very different from the person to person. So then it's very difficult to find the right person who talk to about these issues. And so that kind of things happens, divided and isolation, and happens. So that kind of situation, and we are witnessing in the Fukushima area.
Comment reminding me that I have a relative who was in Nagasaki in 1945. It was 10 kilometers away from hypercenter, but she was at the time 7 years old. But decades later, when she tried to get pregnant, she suffered from multiple miscarriages. And those other things are not something that we'll be able to prove medically or scientifically decades later. So there's no proof that the exposure, radiation exposure from the atomic bomb caused this kind of multiple miscarriages. But thank you so much for commenting on that, because what we can do is so many people already exposed to high-level radiation after nuclear disaster. So we have to pay more attention to prevent or to monitor any foreseeable health effects by providing them with the comprehensive medical exams and medical attention in the contaminated areas. Thank you so much.
I don't have to worry so much like you younger people, but is any country now building nuclear plants you know of? I don't hear about them, but what?
We're trying to build more here in the U.S.
You are?
Yeah.
Where, what part?
Georgia and South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Iowa.
There's something like 135 nuclear plants being built now in the world.
I don't know the number, but yeah, China has a major.
Pretty sure it's
nuclear-
So
that
you,
number.
okay, you answered my question. I don't need to know how many. I just wondered if, because I don't hear about, I haven't heard about it, but
Pretty sure that's a number.
I'll
I've seen
pay
recently.
attention. Thank you.
I'm from Japan YWCA and also Associate Professor of Peace and Conflict in Japan and working with the Fukushima issue. And I helped gathering the voices, women and children with Emily. So I want to make 3 comments very shortly. We want to have a lot of information we'd like to share actually. So I'm working with as the doctors mentioned, like physical health and mental health. Also, this is a problem of the social health and the economical health and spiritual health. I'm focusing on the relationship between the human beings in the conflict among the community member, conflict among the family member. I have several papers written in English and Japanese. So if you are interested in more information, I just put my paper there and the dear participant, and starting with dear participant, just send email. I can share the information. The two things that brought from the Japan, as Dr. Goto mentioned, like the men cannot move from the Fukushima, so cannot raise their voice. But women is more kind of have a higher awareness about health risk and etc. And they recognize. And this is not this is affected by nuclear industry issues and nuclear military issues too. So they felt it's very, they say, no, kind of hopeless. But at the same time, they said, the women in Fukushima said, they want to have solidarity with women in United States and other world too. Because, for example, in the military issues, I have to say it shortly, like, this is affected by, like, for example, nuclear politics between Japan and China, Japan, US and China. We are in the midst of the China and the US. But for example, but women said they need good people in US and in the world. So just I want to say that, and if you're interested in that, please give information to them and also maybe to me. And the last short comment is high school students' voice. We put it in the board. She said she wants to share many things, but if she can share only one word, she said, I have many things I'd like to share, but I cannot tell in one word. Because if I say something, will be bullied and, they say, kicked out from the community. But just please come to Fukushima and feel the wind in Fukushima. They said, she said, how we could respond. I mean, it implies many things. High school kids cannot move by their own will. But they said, please come once, feel the wind in Fukushima. Thank you very much for your time.
Very much in this session. Just like to share the information. There is a Japanese women's group who did research about occurrence of violence against women after disasters, covering the area of the Fukushima. That was reported previous week at this session. So they have gone, and I had some print buttons, but they have gone already. So if you are interested in to connect to hear of them, you can access to me. I can convey your name to the person who did report of the session. Thank you. Sorry. Actually, this occurrence of violence was not much highlighted by Japanese government, so that is very important that Women's Network Group did this research.
And 6 or 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to attend the conference of IPPNW, the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War, in Helsinki. And I heard a very interesting thing there, and that was that at that time, the IPPNW affiliate in Japan was, of course, anti-nuclear weapons, but it was pro-nuclear power. And also at that time, 6, 7 years ago, there was a group of Japanese physicians who were proposing to establish a second IPPNW affiliate that would be anti-nuclear power. So I have two questions. As of 3 years ago, what was the position of the IPPNW affiliate in Japan with respect to nuclear power? And what is the position today with respect to nuclear power?
This has been an issue of contention within the organization, and the IPPNW chapter there was so much in favor of nuclear power that it almost led to the cancellation of our most recent meeting there. We were able to work through that. But it still is an issue of contention. And so there is a separate group that's been formed, Doctors Against Nuclear War, is that the name of it? Doctors Against Nuclear War, who are also belong to the IPPNW chapter, but have a different point of view and are working in a very different way. And so that would be the organization that I think, if you were going to work there, that would be the group that I would go through. But our position, PSR's position, is very clear about this, and we are opposed to...
Generally, IPPNW...
And IPPNW is very clear about that as well. We're opposed to nuclear power and nuclear weapons. They're one and the same. They go hand in glove.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm a sister of the Congregation of Notre Dame. We have sisters at Socorro no Seibo School in Fukushima. So I really wanted to refer to your comments too about the sorrow that I know people of Japan and I know our own sisters feel about the release of this nuclear radiation into the atmosphere and into the earth. And I guess I'm also an American. Our sisters in Japan and the United States have a very close relationship because we can't understand how they can even look at us, although we have understood it. So I just want to wish you every blessing and every loving blessing, and to say that please, please know that so many of us know that it's not your fault. We don't look that way, and that I think, your pain hopefully will get the rest of the world to pay attention and to get rid of these things. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Arigato.